There's a reason you leave your talking until the final whistle. Not just the final whistle of a normal game of football, till the end of the season. The last whistle, the last kick. No league title has been won or lost this weekend, and that has been especially proven as Celtic miss out on a huge opportunity against Hearts this afternoon. It's another loss to Hearts this season, this time at Tynecastle. We can talk about what happened in the game as much as we like. The reality is Celtic miss out on going top of the table. That's the story of the day. So we could talk about VAR and all the rest of it through this, but ultimately we only have ourselves to blame for shooting ourselves in the foot and missing this huge chance to put the pressure on Rangers. So, yeah, I don't want to really, but let's talk about it. Like and subscribe, all that nonsense. The final score, of course, Hearts 2, Celtic 0. After Rangers dropped points, not even just dropped points, after Rangers lost yesterday to Motherwell, it was a huge chance for Celtic to go 1 point clear at the top of the table if they won at Tynecastle this afternoon. Of course, they haven't won at Tynecastle this afternoon, and 10-man Celtic, go out, lose 2-0. Great, just what we've been excited for the past 24 hours, I suppose. There was no guarantee that Celtic were going to go to Tynecastle and win today, and we made it hard on ourselves, being down to 10 men and missing an early penalty. Literally everything that could have went wrong for Celtic, but there's no point in licking our wounds and feeling sorry for ourselves. Today is a massive lesson, if anything, I think, and it shows you the character of some of the players on this side, because when you're lost your captain in a game and Callum McGregor's not available, this is the chance and this is the game that you're hoping a lot of players step up and show that they've got the minerals of what it takes to be a side that could come out the other end of this as champions. But a lot of players showing today, without their captain and without that leadership on the park, that they're not fit for it. So many players that let Celtic down this afternoon. And this is something that's bothered me all season, and I've said this a number of times. There's a few players in that team, and pardon my French here, but after a loss, I'm feeling like it. And I've said it a number of times this season at Celtic Park and in away games. There's some amount of shite bags in this team. So many players who just aren't willing to give that wee bit extra in what could be something that is simple as winning a second ball. So many shite bags, and I think that really shone through in today's performance. Our backs were against the wall. The game was lost as soon as we went down to 10 men, in my opinion. I knew it there and then. I had no hope whatsoever that Celtic were walking out of Tynecastle with 3 points this afternoon. But you'd think that Celtic were happy with losing that game today. The way that we played, the performance, the individuals, and whatever the manager was telling them to do, to me it looked as though we were settled with a loss. And as the time was ticking down in that game this afternoon, one thing in my head was that we should have been just going for it. We should have been treating it like a cup final. What did we really have to lose? You're 2-0 down, the clock's ticking away. As soon as that second goal went in for Hearts, Celtic should have just been, going for it, all guns blazing. What else is there to lose? Might have conceded another goal or whatever, but realistically, wasn't going to make a big deal. Instead, it was so pedestrian. It was so lazy once again from Celtic. One of those performances that we've seen a number of times this season. And it looked as though we were just happy to walk away with a 2-0 loss. When, as I said, just treated it like a cup final and been creating chances. There wasn't enough chances created. There wasn't enough determination in that side to go and try and right the wrongs of the game. But you've got to also give credit to Hearts. They handled the game really well. Xander Clark made a couple of big saves. But they really they took advantage of having that extra man. We couldn't do anything. We couldn't breathe in the final third, and in a season where we've been poor enough in the final third, we've been bad enough with 11 men in the park, they really made it look terrible for us with 10 men on the park. They handled it really well. We struggled, and ultimately that's what you get from it. So how do we even go about the rest of this match reaction? Should I go back to the start? Maybe I should try. There's no point in ifs, buts and maybes because we missed the penalty, but I would have loved to have seen the alternate version of today's game where Adam Edis scores that penalty early on. Should we just get something very clear and out the way? The referee and VAR all got it all wrong today on a number of different decisions. including Celtic's penalty. It was never a penalty at Celtic. It was far too soft. I can understand why it's been given. We see it all the time in the modern game, but for me it's too soft. Probably shouldn't be a penalty. The red card, there's a big argument over or not whether it's a red card. I get it. It's a high foot. But he's not endangering the opposition. There's no malice in it. If anything, the Hearts player has ran right towards the foot of Yang. And I think, it's a sad day and a sad indictment on the SFA when Neil Lennon is talking sense in the studio at half-time with his opinion on it. I think he got it pretty spot on. For me, it's not a red card. That was another decision he got wrong today. And then the Hearts penalty. How? I'm completely... I am lost now. I have no idea what the rules of the game are. None whatsoever. But today, if you're going off the rules of the game, they got it blatantly wrong. Should never have been a penalty. Tomoki Iwata is incredibly unlucky to have it given against them. 3 major decisions in today's game, including one that went in Celtic's favour, that the referees got wrong. You can't win with the referees in this league. And this isn't me making excuses, by the way, because I'm not going to use... We were poor. We deserved to lose the game today, going off how we performed. But that's 3 huge decisions which changed the course of the game that the referees got wrong today. And it's happening, it's happening in every game. It's happening in games for Rangers. It's happening in games for Celtic. It's happening with everybody. And yet, somehow, week by week, the SFA and the referees that are employed by them seem to get away with it. I kind of give up. I don't even know. But it's been it's been like that for years now. There's no point making a big song and dance about it. When it's been like that for God knows how long. But we missed the penalty early on, and that's what leads to the red card coming. It's the play directly after that essentially gets Yang sent off. I would have loved to have seen the game where the alternate universe where he just scores the penalty. It's a terrible penalty. And then after that, you've got to think to yourself, right, heads up, let's keep going. We've got them on the ropes a little bit here. And then bang, the red card happens. Just a kind of moment of madness for Yang, but I really feel sorry for him because I don't think he knows much about it. But he's going for the ball, and the Hearts player comes flying in towards his foot. There's not much Yang can do about it. It's not as if he can pull his leg away at the last second, and he's sent off. And just from that moment on, it was just a nightmare for Celtic, and I knew it was going to be. We don't have enough quality in our side to deal with a Hearts side at Tynecastle who are on pretty good form this season. We've not got the quality in our side to deal with them with 11 men sometimes, let alone 10. And they were all over us. We had to change up what we were doing in that first half. And too many players were not at the races today. I honestly couldn't name you one good performance. I thought Ida was okay. He was trying his hardest. He was holding the ball up well. And he was trying to get in and about there. I thought Kyogo had his moments where he looked okay after he came on. I thought Vickers looked okay. But there was nobody that was good. Far more poor performers than pass mark performers on that park this afternoon. And we just couldn't get close to Hearts. We got that offside goal. And then after that, Hearts just, they kept coming at us. And then the penalties awarded. And it's just a disaster, our first half performance, really. There's such a key part of that game today for me, and it is McGregor being missing. We lacked so much composure, and it was incredibly evident when it was the first half. And Iwata, for example, does whatever that was he was doing when they scored an offside goal. The one that Shanklin scored right before half-time that was chopped off. That's terrible from Iwata. He should have been hooked there and then for that alone. He was terrible today, by the way. And I know we've been banging this drum about him over the last couple of games, and we've been really giving him a lot of credit. But this is exactly why we can't get over our heads with certain players. It's the same with Yang as well, who's been red carded. I've seen people going out and saying that he's going to be a star for Celtic, which is just nonsense. Absolute nonsense. I'm not saying he's terrible, even though I've been on that kind of train for all season. But it's not me binning him and saying he's terrible. But this is why we can't get over our heads about players after one good performance, because Iwata was so bad today. Really, really bad. And in that moment, I'd have had him hooked there and then at half-time. But that's where the big difference in not having McGregor on the park is. And then there's too many players that just, as I've said already, are shite bags and they can't rise to the challenge. Greg Taylor, Dyson Maeda. Oh, I'm at my wit's end with him, by the way. I'm at my wit's end with Maeda. You can't win a football game when you've got to chase it with a player like Maeda in the park. No technical ability there whatsoever. You're not going to get anything. Shocking to watch sometimes. Him, Taylor, Iwata, even O'Reilly at times, Scales, Johnston as well. shite bag performances. They didn't have their captain to pull them out. And that's cowardly for me. You know, just because your captain's not in the park and he's not there, you shouldn't have to rely on him to kind of rail you up and pull you out of situations. No, you should be doing that yourself. And too many players in that park today were missing their captain. And that composure in the middle of the park was just gone for Celtic. And I think that's where you could say we won and lost, where the game was lost for Celtic this afternoon. Really, really big absence without Callum McGregor. The second half it got worse, to be honest. We weren't good enough. We weren't creating chances. Side to side, backwards passes, returning. Whatever happened on Wednesday night against Dundee seems like an anomaly of a performance now that we're not going to see again. I think for as disappointed as I am in today's performance, and the second goal we conceded is really poor, by the way. I've not even touched on that, but I'm just going to skip to the bigger picture because I've spoke for long enough, and I don't want to make this seem like a rant when there's still, 9 games to go. The league has not been won or lost this weekend. Rangers have showed they've got a slip-up in them. But the thing is, are we able to capitalise on these slip-ups? Today was always going to be hard at Tynecastle. 11 men, 10 men, 9 men, whatever, was always going to be a tough game. But we have blown a massive opportunity there today. Because I don't know if Rangers are going to have many more in them. I think that yesterday, them losing to Motherwell, we shouldn't count that happening much more often this season. And I really didn't want to have to watch these derby games become as important as they are if we could have put the pressure on them beforehand. But here we are. This is the situation we lie in. Players need to improve. The performance needs to improve from today. Of course, we don't play a league game for a couple of weeks now. It's the Scottish Cup next week. So I'm just really disappointed that we didn't take advantage of that opportunity today, because it was a huge one. An absolute huge one. And players should be really disappointed with the effort levels, I would say, that were put out in the park at Tynecastle, 10 men or no. Really, really disappointing. I guess things don't really change though this weekend. We've went 1 behind them in goal difference from, well, a 1 lesser from where we already were, so I think it's 2 behind them in goal difference now. It's going to be a huge few weeks. I feel like we've not even scratched the surface with some of the problems in today's performance and some of the things in the game, but we will dive deeper into it tomorrow. I'm in a bit of a rush. I have an ICW show tonight, so if you're a wrestling fan, make sure to check it out on Triller Plus. ICW Wait and Bleed this evening. Good card. So I've got to go in a rush. Sorry lads if I've kind of rushed through the match preview, match reaction, sorry. But we will be back tomorrow to sadly discuss it more and see what the manager says about it as well. So if you've enjoyed, like and subscribe. Disappointing. See you all next time.